Hello, this is Grandma Jan from Red Toad Art Studio, and today we are going to do a springtime collage. We are going to do it on a quilt pattern, a very old quilt pattern, that is based on this cute little image of Sunbonnet Sue. She is standing in her garden or her backyard, wherever she's at, but she's enjoying the spring sun. So, let's get started on Sunbonnet Sue. First, I need a springy background because I imagine Sue standing in her springtime garden. And she's been weeding and she picked some vegetables. Actually, these vegetables probably wouldn't be grown till later in the summer. But hey, this is a collage. We can have it say and do anything we want, right? So I'm going to have a green background and a green spot she's standing on. She will be holding some, let's see. She will be holding, I think this might be some kind of herbs. I don't know. I'm not sure, but she's holding something she grew, and she just harvested these luscious carrots. So, this is a color picture. And I will attach it in the description box so that you can download it if you would like to use it. Now, there are ways to make patterns out of these pictures, and I've already cut it out, but let me show you real quickly what my pattern turned out like. It turned out in several pieces. The biggest piece was obviously her dress, and when I first used it, I left the arm attached. So I cut out the dress and the arm so I had a piece like this. And then I cut out the hat. I didn't worry about this ribbon. The hat, the boots, and then I kind of drew this pattern to fit here of her apron. And let's see, I cut off the lace and I measured that on some other lace. Did I say the boots? I think I did, but maybe I didn't. I cut out the boots. And I cut out the flower, but I didn't use it since I used some veggies instead. So that made several pattern pieces, and those pattern pieces were drawn on the backs of different color scrapbooking paper. You could also use magazine papers or paper you have painted, any kind of paper you want, or even colored with marker. And I have done a bunch of those, and I've got them cut out and actually ready to glue on to save some time. So I have already cut out a background. Doesn't that look springy? So let's put this background on next. Oh, and one piece of advice when you make this, if you want, maybe print out two, then you have two places to cut out. You could cut out this background and then you could go ahead and cut out the arm and things like that. But it's up to you. Just figure out how to cut it out and get it traced on to your paper. So I'm going to glue it on this side. So let's move this over. Yeah. And I'm going to get the paste on the back of these. think, well, her garden might be a little weedy. You know, whose garden is perfectly weeded? Tell me that. Mine sure isn't. So we need to put down our grass and our flowers. We won't say they're weeds. They're pretty. Let's see. When I glue this down, I need to leave this grassy part unglued so that I can slip her boots down into the grass. Okay, I have glued this down. I have trimmed the edge off, and I've left a little bit of spot here to put her boots down, her feet. It's a muddy garden, although it looks nice and green. She had to wear her boots. So, let's look at our picture. The first pattern I cut out was her dress, and I chose a nice, bright, colorful piece of paper. Isn't that pretty? Now, let's see. We need her boots, and they will go down under the grass, and it will go just like that. And her hat goes just like that. But, you know, there's some work we need to do. Oh, look at this ribbon here. I have cut some ribbon out. Isn't this pretty? Looks like this. That needs to go on the bottom of her dress. So I think we need to do that the very first thing. We're going to add the glue to the inside of her cutout dress piece. And we need to put this lace right here. And it will be a little tricky to get it on there looking curved, but let's see if this works. I've got to let it dry a minute. Oops. There we go. We have a little bit of lace on the bottom of our dress. So I think these pieces are right about in the right spot. Let me see if I can find her sleeve. Oh yes, there's plenty of room here for a flower, but we could back it up just a little bit because we have to put our saying in too. This is as far as we can back it up, I think. There. So, I'm going to glue these pieces down. Her boots are down. Now I'm going to put some glue on the dress. And there is our pretty dress. Now it's always handy if you have a brayer to flatten your images with. You can do it with your fingers and that will work perfectly fine. But a brayer will really get things down. There we go. let's see the hat, but the apron needs to go down, I think, next. Let's see. This will only fit one way. I think about like that. This has to go down before the hat goes down. This is always a puzzle piece, isn't it? Okay, let's get this apron on. Yes! Isn't she dressed colorfully? All right. I think it's time to find her arm, maybe. Here's her arm. But look, there's lace. I had cut a piece to put on her arm. So look at this cute sleeve. Now, we need a hand. And I cut a nice bright pink hand. Thumb up, isn't it? Yes, thumb up. That will fit right in here. And that is a quick fix, so let's fix that. Okay. Let's let that dry a bit. I'm going to lay that aside and let it dry for a minute. We can lay it right there, can't we? Because our hat needs worked on. Our hat had some ribbons on it. Now, I don't have exactly the same kind of ribbon for the hat, but I have this. I'm hoping I can glue that on in that curve. The curves are kind of tricky. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, I will have to hold this down, I think, for a few minutes, and I'll be right with you when it dries. There we are. Now we need to trim it. And I think we'll glue the tabs in the back. That will help keep it curved. You know, this is going to be very stubborn and take its time to dry. Maybe I should have used Aileen's tacky glue on this. But you know what? We will just fasten it down, give it some time to dry. That's what paper clips are for, right? Yeah. And it will go up here when it's dry. So let's work on her arm and hand. Now she's holding some herbs. And in this hand is a line, and I have cut that line. Do you see that? I don't know if you can see that or not. I have made a slit in the line so that she can hold it. And I think it would be a good idea to glue this in her hand. We've got all kinds of things drying, don't we? I want plenty of green hanging out the bottom and the top. So there we go. I think that looks pretty good. Just a little bit. Isn't she cute? I just love her. Well, I'm not sure if this hat's dry. Let's find our carrots. I think they're just laying down there at her feet. I guess they're just there on the ground, right? We're getting close to being done, but we have a saying to put on there too. And to me, that's one of the trickiest parts when I decide to write my own saying. And the saying for this collage is tend your own garden. You know, a lot of times we look at our neighbors' gardens, and by gardens I mean things they do and things they need to do and kind of their calling in life, and we think theirs looks like more fun. So we try to do what needs to be done. Well, we kind of go into their garden and try to do it too. And our garden, in our backyard, may have 1,000 weeds and it's not growing anything because we don't like working in our own garden. Have you ever felt like that? The neighbors is more fun. Our best friends, we'd rather go clean their house than clean our house. Can you think of that? But that's funny because that's the way we are. But the secret to a successful life, one of the secrets, is we need to tend our own garden before we go running off and trying to tend our neighbors. And maybe they don't want us to tend their garden. They want to do it themselves. So I think our hat is dry. It'd be cute if she had a little flower tucked in there, wouldn't it? Let's see. Maybe I can find a little flower to tuck in there. And maybe a little bunny rabbit here and our saying here. Well, here is a flower. That needs to be glued on. Now I'm going to take the hat and put some glue on it. There's our cute hat. I think she's so cute. Makes me scared to do the lettering because I might blow it there. Should I make it sound a little more friendly and say, please tend your own garden? Nah, tend to your own garden. We'll go with that. And I think I like the arched letters. I'm not very good at it. Tend. And then your own garden. Okay. Tend your own Now, I'm not too thrilled with that, but it's on there, and it's on there to stay. Now, I'm going to fancy it up a little by doing just a little bit of extra in it. All right. I don't care for it. I don't like most of my hand-printed things. But you know, that's what makes collages ours, isn't it? And maybe I should have gone a little bit more this way. That might have looked better. And You will be able to do a better job when you try this collage. But I hope you have enjoyed this. I think this is cute and it has a meaning to it. We need to take care of our own things, not that we don't help others. If our neighbor needs help weeding his garden, there's no harm in going and helping him. That's fantastic. Just don't forget to do your own garden too. Bye-bye for now.